The EGR valve is located on the right side of the motor, right by the thermostat housing, as indicated by the red arrow. If you are wondering if the valve is working or not, you can perform a simple test by removing the vacuum line from the top of the valve and applying some vacuum, red arrow. There is a viewing port on the valve, yellow arrow, where you should be able to see the valve open. If you cannot see the valve, a simple check to see if the valve is holding pressure or not is to suddenly remove the vacuum line. You should be able to hear the valve snap shut. If the valve is not holding pressure or not opening or closing, it is broken. This photo illustrates the viewing port, red arrow, on the EGR valve with it out of the vehicle. If you are replacing the EGR valve, red arrow, you will need to remove the turbo air intake hose, yellow arrow, to access the mounting hardware. Mercedes reconfigured the mounting design over the years, so check on your vehicle before ordering parts. On our 1985 300 TD, you need to remove the AC line mount to access the valve. Unfortunately, this also means loosening the thermostat housing as well, which will require replacing the thermostat housing gasket. Disconnect the vacuum line from the top of the valve, red arrow. With the air duct removed, you can see the clamp connecting the hose from the exhaust to the EGR valve, red arrow. The yellow arrow points to the AC bracket mount, which also holds the thermostat housing in place. Use a 13mm red arrow and a 12mm socket, yellow arrow, to remove the housing hardware. Note, on our car that means replacing the thermostat housing gasket. Use a 13mm wrench and disconnect the hose to the EGR valve clamp, red arrow. There are two 6mm Allen bolts holding the valve to the intake manifold. Use a 6mm Allen and remove the two bolts as indicated by the red arrows. You can now remove the EGR valve from the motor. Do not forget to install a new gasket when installing the new valve. With the valve off, make sure to clean up the exhaust pipe, red arrow, and the intake, yellow arrow, before installing the new valve. Installation is the reverse of removal. Thanks for watching. Click here to view the original article along with hundreds of other DIY content for your car.